Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the final word. Everton won, Arsenal won, Goodison Park on Saturday. 2 defeats in 12 for David Moyes since he took over.
No.
Them is the facts.
They're facts. We never count that first defeat though, do we?
I don't count it. Well, that's still only 2 defeats in 12.
No, I know, but I'm saying when people talk about it, they just like wash over the Villa game, don't they?
Say it was 1 in 11.
Yeah.
I know, but he only had a game, hadn't he? But the 2 defeats we've had have been by a single goal, haven't we? And
yeah, of course.
One of them. It was obviously a difficult week for Everton. Liverpool away on Wednesday night, top, and then an early kick-off on the Saturday against the second place team. The manager did make some changes. One was enforced, Vitaly Mykolenko missing out with an injury. Nathan Patterson, which a lot of people were surprised, and me being one of them, was surprised by coming in at left back.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be Ashley Young. Tim Iroegbunam come in. I was less surprised by that one. He come into the starting lineup. And obviously Illiman and Jai, which wasn't really a surprise because he was, we'd got half an hour against Liverpool. He come in on the left. And what did you make of the team? Were you surprised? Were you more or less surprised than I was with the side?
Probably just the changes. Obviously, Mykolenko. It felt like they wanted him for that derby game, and then, but he did have that moment in the game where he always stretched in and the ball hit him. So it was a different injury, wasn't it? I think it was an ankle injury. But I'm not surprised they left them out, and I'm not surprised Garner got dropped. I did say last week that I wasn't particularly impressed by him in the derby, but to me, I didn't think Iroegbunam had done enough yet to maybe get a place in the team. But that's what these games are for, aren't they? That's what it was, an opportunity. That's what we're going to see more going forward, or what we want to see more going forward is obviously if you have games in quick succession, there's got to be changes. You've got to be able to trust every member of your playing staff, haven't you, to do the job, and you've got to trust. Patterson's waited for a chance. No, it's not the worst thing in the world to play a lad out of position. It's just funny that Jake O'Brien's out of position playing in Patterson's position, and Patterson's got to come in at left back, but that's good. That's not, again, that's something that we've not really had before, and he made the changes. I said in Jai, probably ready for him, but there could have easily been other changes, couldn't there? There could have been Jack Harrison, maybe shouldn't be in the side. Corey, for a lot of people, shouldn't be in the side. Now I should be in the side, but the manager just has to look at what's best for the team at the moment and what's best for getting those results, because we'd be here sitting here whinging if we got beat, or complaining if it was a bad performance, or thinking, we all like to think we're like even-minded and fair, but we don't want to see our team lose, and we don't want to see them lose at Goodison Park. So you've got to get that balance right, haven't you? And I think he just about got it right on Saturday.
Yeah, I think that's something we do. You're right, we do want to see that. I think we've got to see it. But there is a fine balance. Got to give the lads who were sort of on the fringes, they've got to be given a chance, because I do think there will be a big reset in the summer. There's got to be. The amount of players that are going or are out of contract, the manager will want to freshen it up. We've got players loaned in who, are they going to stay? We don't know. Probably not. I'd suggest Broge is probably the one they may well have a chance of keeping for another season on loan, because I think Chelsea will just want him out, I think. And Everton certainly aren't going to pay any money for him this summer, unless Chelsea say you can have him for 5 million or something. Yeah. I'd be amazed with that, but you never know. So we have got to see those play. And then for people like Tim Iroegbunam, it's first start for probably since about September, October, isn't it? He's been out for such a long time, so it was good to see him get us that, albeit he did look rusty and he was up against a very good midfield. So therefore he'll have found it a tough afternoon, but also he got 60 odd minutes in his legs, which is really good. And then Njai was in and out of the game, but you want him in the team because he's the one player who will take the ball. He's brave and he can do things with the ball, and so it was good to see that. And I was glad Patterson was given a go, and Everton, we knew what we were going to have to do. We knew that Arsenal were going to have most of the ball, of course. We knew we'd have to be compact, and I think it shouldn't be lost on it. It won't be on most Evertonians that this is a team that isn't full of goals. We knew that the first half of the season. It was a team that isn't full of goals, playing in a terrified manner, which meant there was even less chance of scoring goals. Everton have scored in 10 of the last 11 games. You know, on Saturday included, albeit it was a penalty, but, you know, the fact we got a penalty, our second of the season, should tell you that was a rarity. But the way the game started, Arsenal were quickly into their stride, but I thought we had the structure quite good, and I think that is one thing that, no matter whatever else anyone can level at our players, every one of them puts a shift in, and every one of them does their job, as in team structure and making sure that no one's given an easy time. I think that's what I've taken from it so far.
And I think 16 teams in the Premier League can say that, though. I think that's what. No, I know.
We've always been able to say.
I think 16. I think I think that's what separates the teams. I think that's what separates the teams from the bottom three, is that there is that most of them have that structure where you can get through. I think it's then starting to add on that little bit of class, isn't it? And I think Arsenal, it's testament to the team that Arsenal had so much possession but scored on a breakaway. I think it's testament to how compact we can be and how we get into shape, that it took sort of a collection of mistakes off one old-fashioned sort of centre-back sort of situation, where the centre-back really, for me, Branthwaite, should just clear everyone out to win that header, and he doesn't, and he leaves it to, and then it's just a domino effect, isn't it then? And that's all it can take against good teams, is giving up the ball cheaply. And I think for everything else we were fine. That, you know, Arsenal didn't really test us, and I know it wasn't their starting team, and they would have had an eye on to tomorrow night. But there's loads of games like that in the Premier League, though. There's loads of opportunities. There'll be loads of opportunities in the next few weeks where teams will be playing teams we've got nothing to play for, and this is what usually opens the door to teams at the bottom of the table to start picking up points like we have done in the last couple of years. You've just got to have that structure in the face of it, and it's how you add onto that structure, isn't it? Where other people, look at Forest are absolutely flying because they had that structure, and they've added pace, and you know, the centre forward, it's a year-long purple patch, and they're going to get in the Champions League. That's sometimes how it can work out in the Premier League. So I think what we've seen under Moyes, which it's not too dissimilar to what we had before, but it's the team is in there. It's just that Moyes has added the ability to maybe create a few more chances or play higher up the pitch. I think we're +5 in goals since Moyes has been here, but I think all the other stats are trending upwards as well. But you're right, we were saying before, it's like we still can't put the ball in the back of the net because we just don't have good enough players. We don't have good enough players to create chances for the centre forward, and they're not doing it themselves. And that's where there's going to have to be a massive rethink of a centre forward, a right winger, another left winger, full backs who can get forward. But it's whatever's needed first, which is obviously, I think for me, a right winger and a centre forward.
Yeah, we're crying out for that. I mean, you know, Arsenal are really good side. Doesn't matter whether they weren't a full strength. They've amassed a really good squad, which has cost a lot of money as well. Mikel Arteta's had, but bought really well. Their biggest thing's what everyone knew, and they've sort of blown their opportunity to win the Premier League this year by not buying a centre forward. Arsenal fans won't need us telling them that. They know that themselves. And even on Saturday, the Trossard was the striker, wasn't it? And Sterling was sort of switching at times because they didn't have that out-and-out striker, which is what I'm sure they all want. But they did still have a lot of quality on the pitch, a lot of quality on the ball, you know. And I thought certainly the opening 25 minutes, Everton just couldn't get the ball off them, and it looked like when we had the ball, we had no time, and when Arsenal had the ball, they had all the time in the world. And that's just the facts of how good the players that Arsenal do have in midfield. In particular, Declan Rice, fantastic, we know that. But Marino, you know, very good. Jorginho, who's a bit part player for them, but we've seen before with Chelsea, very, very good footballer. You know, didn't have Odegaard on the pitch, who's brilliant. He didn't bring him on until late, but all really comfortable on the ball, and that's the gulf, isn't it? That we're facing at the moment.
You imagine working in that environment every single day, training against each other every single day with that amount of talent. It's only going to take you up. People have often remarked on this. It's like Everton players. and players who play in the other squads. It's who's bringing you up, who's taking you to that next level, who's shining amongst the other ones. If you've got a core group of like 11 and 12 absolutely brilliant players, it must just take everybody up to the next level. We just don't have that, and you just have to stay in there. I thought we were woeful in the first half. I just thought that we were so sloppy, and that might be down to the amount of changes we actually did make. We were so sloppy, and it started with Pickford, doing the double tap, and it started with that, and it sort of it was just creeping through the team, and I just thought we were so wasteful and sloppy, and and that showed for the goal. As I said, something so innocuous as not putting the blame on Jared Brantwaite, but something as so innocuous as like a centre back just not going in and clearing through other players. So they've just been a little bit tentative and going, "No, I'll leave it to you," and then it's a mistake, and then it leads into the goal. It's just like it was all those little things rather than anyone, and that's, you could see that of like. This is the danger with effectively not having anything to play for as such. It's like that level will drop. Of course, we said that about Wednesday night, isn't it? One team's need is more than another. It's going to take you to the end of games. We've seen that on the other way, going, our need is much more than opposition teams, so we're gonna fight for every ball, and are they gonna fight for it? And it's you get that at this time of the season. I just felt in that first half, it was like both teams were just like, Arsenal, let's be honest, the Arsenal players just didn't want to get injured. They've got a huge game in the Champions League, and they're thinking, let's just get through this, and whatever, if we win, it's a bonus. Don't lose it, but have a decent performance. And to give the goal away so softly, it was indicative of everything else what went on in the first half, because I just thought it was like the kick-off time plays its part in that. The crowd are like, it's just another game. We don't want to get beat, but it's just it's hard, isn't it? It's hard to get yourself up for these games now. It's good.
It's amazing.
It's good, but also it's like the other side, because then it makes you want something more, which is like the next stage of things, isn't it? That's what. But it's Moyes will drive that home with the players now of like, don't you dare be dragged into that thing. It's like there's 3 home games. Go out undefeated, at Goodison Park. If you can do nothing else, go out. And it's it's hard, isn't it? It's hard, but yeah.
Well, there was the positive things, I think, in the opening half an hour for me was that we didn't really get many sights of goal. Arsenal did they? They had obviously a couple of breaks. I mean, we gave 2 back passes which put us in trouble.
Yeah.
Garner and Tarkowski with one under it, and Tarkowski didn't go for it, and then it put us on the back foot. And we had another one, we've knocked it back, and they've got in again from messing around with it. But luckily for us, there was nothing too serious. Jordan picked.
There was a fantastic Brantwaite tackle in there.
A brilliant tackle when he broke in. It was a fantastic one, and the other one where Trossard, I was worried about. He rode the tackle, but then he went down when Pickford went in with him. But there was those moments, but part way through that, we had an incident where VAR has decided to recommend to a referee that it's a booking for Jake O'Brien for pulling someone down, which is all he done was drag him. But the referee gave Everton a throw-in, so it wasn't a foul, otherwise he'd give a free kick to Arsenal. So Everton had a throw-in, and before we were about to take it, he stopped the play, which means that VAR intervened with the referee and recommended a booking for Jake O'Brien, which, okay, if that's come in now and they're going to do that for everything, fine. Yeah. But they won't. No. So, I mean, what did you make of that? Because
we didn't know anything about it. Didn't know anything about it. It was so weird. There was someone down in the box. Jake O'Brien was taking a throw, and he booked him, and no one knew why. And it was like, has he been booked for time wasting? On the throw, and no one knew, and then it come up on the screen, and even when it come up on the screen, no one knew. No one could still be. No, it was like, what? It was like, again, the communication is woeful. It's woeful. That's where they need to be mic'd up and say, right at that second, that player has been booked for this thing via VAR. But it wasn't real.
But that's not.
You can't do that. No, you can't do that. So again, they're just making it up as they go along, and they're letting the VAR re-referee the game, which we're seeing more and more, and we've got it wrong in this country that we allow VAR to dictate so much of the game, and it allows players to then put pressure on the referee to force everything to go to VAR, like we saw with the penalty. And it's made it a laughing stock, and it puts all the others, it puts the good stuff. You just go, you don't care about the good stuff. You just don't. VAR can be a fantastic tool, and it's mostly right, whether people like it or not. But how we get to things, how we get to decisions, are totally wrong. And I also didn't think it was a yellow card, because I seen someone do that on Wednesday night who didn't get a booking for doing exactly the same thing to James Tarkowski. He didn't get, but he didn't get booked for anything.
No,
because he's saintly.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, Everton's, we had 2 chances in the first half. We had the header from, I think it was Beto, which Brien looked like he cleared off the line or stopped it going in. By obviously just hit him, but it looked like he was going to cause an issue. And then we had a Jake O'Brien header, which he put over, it sort of hit him, and it was like a bit of a clash at heads, but the size of me knew it was a good chance, and he got up because he almost had a free header at it. But we did give the goal away, and it was a poor goal. And when you're playing against a good side, if they score, you want. I mean, don't get me wrong, Trossard took it well, and Sterling gave him, but from our perspective, you want it to be a goal where you go, couldn't do much about it. It was a great goal, that or whatever, and it wasn't. Like you said, it was indecisive defending. And even after we haven't gone and cleared it out on the halfway line, we allow Sterling to carry it and play it off. And O'Brien's got to get tight to Trossard, so there's he can't get it past him. Doesn't he just gives him space to have a shot? And I don't know whether Pickford should do better. I'm really blaming the goalkeeper.
No, I don't blame him.
It's the defender in front of him.
I thought it was a woeful goal.
Took it well, like Trossard.
I thought it was a woeful goal, and I'd say why. I think because we have about 4 or 5 players in our box when he shoots,
and he ends up
and that's why it's a woeful goal, because, as I said, Garner heads it the wrong way, but does he know Branthwaite's there? Is Branthwaite shouting him? He can't see Branthwaite.
Tarkowski hesitates though as well. He could go through.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like Branthwaite waits and then he takes the run, and it's like, why isn't someone? I don't like this in football where we just back off and back off and back off. Why didn't someone engage him? But when he does play the ball to Trossard, he's still got so much to do. And all I want Jake O'Brien there is to just force him away. You don't have to tackle. We'd already seen the one way with Branthwaite, and Branthwaite waited to the last minute and then cleared him through. And that sometimes can be dangerous because you only have to get a touch on the ball. You get it wrong and it's a penalty. Trouble, but where he was, I'm just thinking, just get closer. And he can't, but he didn't. He waited. It was almost like, you're not going to shoot, oh, you've shot and it's gone. And you can see it on his face straight away. And I just thought it was a poor, I mean, I'm surprised Pickford's beaten by there, I really am, but not going to go overboard. But I just think Jake O'Brien has to learn. You've got to try and, you're a big lad, just lean into him. Lean into him for that second and take that opportunity away in that second. And he's got nowhere to go then. He'd have to come back again. And how many
spins you around then?
And how many plays has he got in the box to look at? We had loads, and we had so many plays in the box that Joshua could only hit the ball at that one moment. And I just think, Jacob, you've got to be tight. You've got to be.
It was a good finish, but you've got to be tight. And you're behind, and then you do sort of go, because we were quite flat in the first half. We weren't getting close enough to them. Beto and Decore couldn't sort of link up with them. Couldn't get near. They were just so much more comfortable in possession than us, and made it difficult. And you are thinking, then, how are we going to get back into this, and because we know they're a good side, we're going to have to really mix it up a little bit. And went in 1-0 down at half time, and I was wondering whether he'd make a change at half time, because Jack Harrison had been ineffective in the first half as well down the right.
Put his best crossing from the left.
Well, that's we know where he is, don't we? Where he should be playing. But we come out for the second half, and to be fair, we raised it a little. I think the manager sort of admitted afterwards. I do like the way he said none of us were happy. We sort of had a go at each other, which means he basically had a go at the team for not getting anywhere near any players. And he did come out with a little bit more tempo, but obviously we got the penalty very early in the second half. I thought it was a penalty.
Yeah, I did.
Albeit I could understand if it wasn't given, but at the time, when Lewis Skelly misjudges the bounce of the ball, Harrison is in, and he fouls him. I mean, even the skeleton said he didn't think it was a penalty, but it was outside the box if it's a foul. So he's definitely fouled.
No, that's not
but
true.
I thought he was in the box.
That's not true, because that doesn't work like that anymore. The foul doesn't get given for where it starts, if it gets given for where it ends now.
Yeah, and it was a foul. It was a foul. He was in behind him. He just didn't intend. I don't think he intentionally done it, Skelly, but he's fouled him.
I think he did.
Well, I don't. But
No, only because once the ball's gone over his head,
he's in trouble.
Jack Harrison goal side, and that's the worst nightmare. Once you goal side, what are you going to do? And he tries to pull, he pulls him.
No, he does pull him.
He tries to pull him, and Jack Harrison like gets through the initial bit, and Jack Harrison, he goes down and gets back up straight away, and that to me tells me it's a penalty, because he doesn't want
He's not trying to dive, is he?
He's not diving. He gets physically pulled to the ground, and that to me tells me it's a penalty. And these rules of what's a foul and what isn't a foul, it's a foul. No, it's a foul. You've impeded a play and you've brought him down, and there's different angles that show it so cleanly. And I don't, for it to go to VAR and then all the investigations afterwards, because it's Arsenal again, how the media dictates what's important, what isn't important. Spend all week talking about Tarkowski last week, but no one spends 2 minutes to look at the goal that was given against us.
That was offside.
The media just dictate, and therefore put it into the consciousness of people's minds what is and what isn't. I don't know whether he has, whether he spoke about the Jacob Brien thing today. Was anyone picked up on that? You know what I mean? Because it's like
probably not,
yeah, but it's like a fundamental, it's like this thing isn't a real thing, so how can it be? We're looking at the rules of the game. There's like, you can look at all the things in the pitch, like is this a kind of guy made an absolutely perfect tackle in the first half, and yet it's a foul just outside the box, and it's like and no one goes, why is he giving, it's not brought up, it's never shown in highlights. All these mistakes get made, and then they want
to. Let's be honest, that in England had a terrible game. It's probably the only thing he sort of got right was the penalty. Because I thought it was, for me, it was a pen because he's in behind. Not all penalties need to be like he's cutting off for it to be a penalty or it's a game. It impeded.
I think he brings him down and he falls on his leg.
So penalty. Illiman and Jai. I mean, going to VAR and then you're thinking it'll be taken off us, because we've had about 5 taken off us this season, which is scandalously. But, it stood. Illiman and Jai stepped up and sent the goalkeeper the wrong way, and great penalty, calm.
Yeah.
And there was a little bit of momentum at that stage then. It was like, Arsenal had obviously brought Saka on, hadn't he, and Martinelli, and you're thinking, and then they're on the back foot a little bit. And we had a little flurry for about 5 or 10 minutes where we were the team with the tempo, and we couldn't again. They did ride. Arsenal sort of rode it out well, as you'd expect, but it's those moments, isn't it, where you're looking for that extra bit of quality. We've got Mikalenko out of the sides, but we've got a right back playing so we haven't got someone who's gonna, Patterson will do it, but he's normally doing it off the right hand side, and we've got Njai there, so it's all on sort of Njai. But on our right hand side, it's Jack Harrison, who always wants to come on his right foot, back onto his left foot, and therefore he has to check back all the time, so momentum's gone. We couldn't get Beto in behind, because Saliba or Saliba, whatever you say, is absolutely brilliant. It's probably the best centre back in the Premier League. Pace.
I can't think of anyone else.
He's the pace, and he's brilliant in the he's been brilliant, Van Dijk, but Saliba is I'm going to say Saliba, don't shoot me.
Big Sal.
He's got everything, hasn't he? He's pacey, he's good on the ball, good in the air. We couldn't get Beto in behind, and Decore was working hard, but we're getting nothing with the ball, so there was no real case of like putting pressure, and when we got the odd corner, I don't know what our corners are doing, and yet we'd seen how good Arsenal are at set pieces in the first half, with one Branthwaite headed off the line, a brilliant ball in by Bright was right in. So that's something going forward we're going to have to work on, because this is a team who was second in the league and have I don't think he've done as well as we've done, which is mad, given that we're not great, but we've scored as many set pieces as Arsenal. But you could see the danger of this.
Yeah, but you can say what you want about who's telling them to make set pieces or what to do. If you can't put the ball in the right area, then if you, I mean, the Declan Rice, the way he puts them in, the pace he puts them in, and the trajectory is unbelievable. And if we obviously that's what Dwight McNeil, and let's get it right. When Dwight McNeil went out the team, that's Sean Dyche had lost.
That was it. That
was our only way of playing. If anyone wants to go back and look at it all, that's the way. You know, the game against Wolves, we went 4-0 because Dwight McNeil creates all those opportunities. And that was it. That was the threat. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's enough to put you in a team, but we need a player. And I'd look at who's the best player, who they feel like is and I'd just work on that, on those deliveries, because, you know, whether it's right foot or left foot, look at who's got the best delivery and just work on it. Don't work on, I wouldn't even be asked on working on, like, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. No, work on deliveries, just work on putting it into the box, repetition.
That's what it is, yeah.
Getting it in there fast, getting it in a certain height with pace on it, and just keep working at that.
Because it felt like, even though Arsenal are good at defending them as well, it still felt like that was probably going to be the way we'd force something would be off. And yet, when we got them...
To be fair, in the second half, it felt like that was the only way they were going to score.
No, it did.
Because they were the same. Once we'd scored, it almost went, they just went, oh, we're going to have to go again, are we? And I just don't think they had it in them to do it. The longer it went on, it was just more and more you could see. It was like, it's even little things, right, that I noticed in the second half, like things like making subs at the same time. Both teams making subs as in, we don't want any extra time. We don't, if we do that, no, but honestly, these things, I think they think about all these things. If we make subs at the same time, there's not extra added on time.
They know. I know it's, you're going, it all but ended there. There's just not enough games for them to turn it around. Liverpool ended up losing, yes.
But also, can we just be honest? They're not good enough to win the league.
They can't.
Arsenal are not good enough to win the league. That's the simple fact. I keep hearing people going, worst champions ever and all that. Yeah, sound. Right, but Arsenal aren't good enough. They don't have good enough players in the final third. So that might have been
when they've got the whole squad available.
But I still don't think they're good enough. Though. No, I think they're a lot better. I think they're a better football team, as in watching on the eye.
Better than Liverpool, so to play. I mean, not
to play
clearly
football.
Winning games.
One team can score goals for fun. They can't. But someone relying on set pieces, and let's get rid of that sort of thing. Arsenal aren't. If there was like 15 games left, Arsenal still ain't winning the league.
No, but what I mean is they would have been sort of I feel like they would have gone for it more. I think the looking and going. We're still.
But you know what? If you can go win the Champions League, then that sort of ruins the party, doesn't it? So, that's all right as well.
I'm saying, for Arsenal, their main, we said this in the preview, the priority for them will be the Champions League, because there's
and that's what I'm saying.
Not enough games to turn it around, even if they could.
And the longer that half went on, even if them bringing on players like Odegaard, it was more like, just get a little, Arteta probably looked at him and went, we're not going to train loads with team now and that game. So therefore, I want to give him 30 minutes.
And if we end up winning it, great, we're still in it. And that was the way.
And it doesn't really matter either way. And if they'd lost, Arteta going, good as fun. He loves us more. Let's get it right. He loves us more.
So we went on. Obviously, Everton, Moyes made changes. But Iraburum got 60-odd minutes and he replaced him there. And Patterson was... you could see he was starting to tire a little bit in the heat. Illiman and Jaya, they all cramped, didn't he? And, we got other players on the pitch, but, Bros, you come on and got Beto was tired, he come on and got half an hour or whatever he got, and, that'll do him well. But we didn't, there was only really at the Corey shot, which Ryan made a
it was the only place he could put it.
It was the only place he could do it.
He telegraphed exactly where he was going to put it, and Raya just had to get over it.
One thing that done my head in, Jack Harrison, have you ever watched this? Right? First of all, it's good to see your top not gone. But, if you're going to foul someone and you decide you're going to foul them because they're breaking away, Just foul him in there half, mate.
Yeah.
Don't foul him on the edge of
He
our
didn't
box.
actually foul him, Toffee fouled
No,
him.
I know, but he was...
No, I know.
It was, the foul was coming.
Yeah.
The foul
it was coming. It was always coming.
So it was either coming here,
Yeah.
or it was coming
Yeah.
on the edge. Now, we've just survived.
Yeah.
Well, Illiman and Jai as well, I love you. But no, when a player's running away from goal, he's no danger. You don't need to foul him. Because he done it on the other side, but the Harrison one. You know why? It just gave me Nicholas Alexanderson vibes and Anthony Gordon v Southampton vibes. You knew it.
You know when you talk about football fans and like knowing, understanding the game of football, every single fan in that ground
knew
just like foul him, foul him, foul him, foul him, foul him. For God's sake, foul him, because everyone could see what was coming. Everyone knew that when you're chasing a player and you're not as fast as him, something is going to have to give.
Yeah.
And he bet Taki, who by the way could become a record breaker, didn't he, in this game?
The most booked player without getting sent off.
Yeah, for that foul, I think it was.
Nice one, Jack.
And that you've given that record, Jack. So fair play to you.
Yeah, fair
you've
play.
given that record.
Fair play.
And we've given away. We give them two fouls outside the box, didn't we? One on one side, one on the other. And lucky, the first one hits the wall after about 10 minutes of rearranging the wall. And the second one, he tried to put it the other way. And
he hit it well, right?
Pickford
had
learned from the Man United one of actually trusting your awful ones.
Yeah.
And he made a good save, and obviously they had the save from. He made a good save from the Martinelli one as well.
From Martinelli.
And then he made the greatest save that never counts.
Never was. No,
the greatest save, unbelievable. How did he save that?
That was a brilliant save. The Martinelli one was a brilliant run by Martinelli, and he cut in, and you got right behind it, draw your breath as he hit it because he could see it flying, but he obviously read it. But the one from Trossard, which was a foul, the referee decided to let it go on. Smashed it. It was a brilliant save because I could only see it in the net because he hit it well. Trossard, it sat up and he got right over it, and it was a fantastic
If anyone
save.
is too young to know about Neville Southall, that was a Neville Southall save. It was at that level where you go, how? Like, how can you possibly have saved that? That was like a Neville Southall.
To Nev, though, that was just a bog standard.
But that's a Neville Southall
really
save. Making saves that everyone just goes, how?
It's a great save.
It was a great save.
It really was. The only real other one Arsenal had, which was a good, was the Marino header near the end, which he just didn't get any angle on it, did he? But he rose well and headed it. And that was sort of it, wasn't it? Both teams were sort of... We didn't lose. Shake hands and off you. Arsenal, like you said before, be happy to just get out of it with no injuries.
Yeah, of course.
Not an unnecessary building up to the Madrid game. And David Moyes will look at it, and some people won't like... I know I see a few things about people don't like about Moyes, but like they look at it and go, they didn't beat us no matter what. A good side didn't beat us, and that's the mentality that we're putting into the side. And people can go on about not winning games or whatever, but don't know about you. I'm really grateful we won the games early on, and we haven't had to rely. Imagine having to rely on the way. You can either have it both ways. We could have got loads of draws at the start and started winning these games. Now I'd rather have it this way, that we've been calm enough to go to the game and go, done all right here. And you always gauge it by, I do, gauge it by what the crowd are like at the end of a game. I think everyone was sort of like, you know what, you've had a go there. You haven't played great, but you've come from behind, you've had a go. And people will walk away going, because I think most people, must never speak for everyone obviously, most people I think are feeling now, it's done.
Yeah, of course they are.
It's done, and the planning is for next season. So what can we get out of the final few games?
No, you're right. I think a few people, but I think some people think because we've started well under Moyes and we got hit the ground running, like we were going to build on that. Where it's always like we always said early on in the season that we felt like there was more in this team. And I think that's where we are now. But there's not more to the point that we're going to beat Liverpool on a Wednesday night and then beat Arsenal on a Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon. It's not that level. It's
unless things really go your way.
They're the same players. They're the same players. It's diminishing returns.
And the other thing as well is we lost Njai when he was flying.
Exactly.
You know,
he's our best player.
He's our best player. We lost him when he was absolutely flying. Whether you like Calvert-Lewin or not, they lost him, so it's another option. Whether you like, we've had players in and out, haven't we? It's been, mostly the same team, but we've lost. So we've lost Lindstrom. Now, whether you think Jesper Lindstrom's good or not, he's another player who plays on the right, and he's quick. So therefore, people going on Jack Harrison. Well, who else plays? I know you can go Brozier or Breuer. Yeah, get Breuer in. Like, okay, but they're gonna have a lot of the ball. This team that's in the top two, which means he's gonna have to play most of his time as a auxiliary right back. He's a striker. So, yes, I'm all for playing Brozier wide right when we play Ipswich and Southampton at home and really going for it. Maybe there's even a case against Man City because you just go like that, let's have a look. But I think Saturday for me was like, the players are, if I'd have absolutely bit your hand off if you'd have said when Moyes coming, we'll lose 2 out the next 12. We were 1 point above relegation and we'll score in 10 of the 12 games.
It shouldn't matter how we get the points, it's just getting the points. And he's now got 18 points, so he's got more points than Dice did. And he's got a couple of big opportunities at home to get us up to the 40-point mark. And if you'd said we were going to get to 40 points when he first come in, everyone would have bit the arm off. That's where we are. We want to try and see out the end of the season now, preserve the unbeaten run at Goodison Park if we can. Be tough because of the City game, obviously, being the next one. And there's some tough away games. I think Forest on Saturday will be very, very tough. But that's but I think it's within our own little mini battle. I think for me, there's a little bit of pride of trying to stay above West Ham and trying to stay above Wolves if we can, and and then just there's still teams above us that are still reachable. Just there's still stuff to play for, but let's be grateful that we get to go to the match and just have a relaxing afternoon, just worrying about the game of football rather than the whole picture.
And the other thing as well is none of us are sat here and Evertonians mostly aren't sat there going, this team's sound and we'll be... Yeah. We all know that there's got to be more quality brought in. We know goals and creating chances is a big issue for us. We know that defensively we're sound. Of course we are. We can improve it. Of course we can. Another left back to give Mykolenko, so if Mykolenko's out, we have got a genuine left back. We know that. The basis is there for a decent side, but the thing that will take you higher up and will win games and then give you the opportunity in games like this, if it's tight where you could win it, is that bit of extra quality that we just don't have, and that's where the money and all the planning has to go. But again, I can't stress enough being able to be sat here in April as I was sat there in March, just at Goodison, without any pressure, just going. We're sound, and knowing that we're still, we were still trying to attack on Saturday. We just didn't have enough quality. We've had that. Most games we've really gone and tried to.
It gives you a head start, doesn't it? Gives you a head start for the summer.
Of course, yeah.
In terms of planning,
talking to players.
We already know, we're going to the States, so that's been put in already before. Start putting all that in place. Whereas every year we've gone, everything's last minute, and you're trying to do this and you're trying to do that. The manager's having a good look at everyone and going, send you back, you can leave. I'll bring in someone for you. No, maybe I'll try and give you an extra year, whatever it is. And everyone, there's 2 or 3 players who are out of contract next summer as well that have got to be, going into Mykolenko, Taki, and there's one other who also will be looking at, the manager will be looking at going, do I start negotiations with you this summer or do I leave it? Yeah, that's the other side of it, isn't it? Are you worth another, is Tarkowski worth another contract? Well, we don't want to be going into next summer making that decision like we are this summer. David Moyes will be looking at this summer going, I'm going to make that decision now. So for players, and can't stress enough, there aren't players in this team that at the moment you go, you'd walk into this Jared Brandwaite, and then Jai's got a chance of playing somewhere else. I think it'd be higher in the table. But for me, there ain't anyone else. Not at this stage. So it's up to those players to go. It's up to those players to say, I want to stay at Everton. There's bright things coming. I like this manager. You don't want to get someone like James Tarkowski doesn't want to be at any point. He wants another contract at Everton Football Club. Wants to be settled at this stage of his career. This is when you earn it.
Biggest club he's ever going to play for.
Of course it is. you don't want to you want to earn it now, not after waiting another 12 months. You want a manager like David Moyes to go, I think you deserve a 2-year extension.
No one like Moyes. The moment what Moyes is.
No,
like,
I know.
He might not, but
he mightn't though, might he? But it's not. But he might say to him, "I'll give you a 1-year extension now, so that you know you're at this club for another 2 years." That's the way he might look at it.
And the other thing as well, what it does is it allows you to have conversations with players, representatives at other clubs. Yeah. To go, well, we're a Premier League side, and a lot of things change. You know, this is the summer that you can sell a different Everton to a lot of people. You know, new owners, they're getting their feet under the table now. New stadium, unbelievable new ground. We're switching the squad around. We've got, you know, money to spend. Our dark days are behind us. We're on the up. That's whether people believe it or not. That's a different thing. But perception can be changed quickly in football, and you can do it. You can do that sell. And we might only get this summer to do that sell. Hopefully next summer, people will see the evidence and go, oh, move ground, that these are a team on the up.
James Garner, he was the other one.
James.
Got a year left.
Well, he's in real trouble. He needs to pull up trees. But I've heard people like Alan Shearer going, these are on the up now. These are on the up. You know, when people like, whether you listen to Mika Richards or not, hey, but I just mean, just because they're out there, the names are out there, they're not on. Lineker said that they look like a team that's on the up. It doesn't matter about where they are. We're seeing it. Everton can use that for players, can't they? Whereas the last few seasons, we know we've lost players because we weren't able to go earlier on. Yet we're in the Premier League next season. Saying to a player, wait till the end of May and we'll see where we are. If they're moving clubs, a lot of them don't want that, because other clubs who are higher up the table will go, we'll have you. We'll take you. Even with things like, we know, was it last year or the year before with that summer series thing, they wanted Everton and they couldn't commit to them because Everton in a relegation battle. You can't go and you know, qualify, if you want to call it qualifying, for these kind of pre-season invite tournaments, because no one can be guaranteed. And that's, you know, that happens on such a big scale, and I can't stress enough, that's what David Moyes has been able to do, is get to that point. He got us to that point really quickly. Now, okay, you can be frustrated when you're coming home and trying to calm Zach down after some of these games, going, it is what it is. It's next season. Frustrated because we haven't won for a week. No, I know, but we also haven't lost. You know, the derby, all right, but we've had chances in other games. We haven't took them. You know, if we'd have beaten Brentford like we should have done, if we'd have held on against Manchester United like we absolutely should have done, then draw them with Arsenal on Saturday, they've just gone to a good point. We move on. It can be spun worse because it's been a while since we won, but that's just footy, isn't it? It doesn't, like you said before, it's getting the points. Doesn't matter how you get them. We've sat here in previous seasons and gone, I wish we'd draw more games rather than losing them, because them extra points put you. But that's what with the draw kings. We are, aren't we? Draw kings. You know, I'd like us to win, and I know it's a big, of course everyone would. 3 more wins would give us 10 wins. We've only won 7 games, but we've drawn 14, which is, we've still lost. I think Palace have lost less than us. You can go above that, and everyone below us has lost way more than us. So we're quite competitive that way, but we are short in the attacking areas.
We all know where our failings are, don't we? Yeah. We can't score goals. Yeah. Our goal scoring record is a biggest one.
Well, if we go through, just before we finish, if you go through it, like what the Core's got 2, I think. Beto's the second top scorer.
Got 9.
And Jai's got 9. Beto's got 7, I think, or something. Who's in the team now. Harrison's got 1.
Yeah. Garner's got none.
James Garner's got none.
Garner-Gay's got none this season.
He's got none this season. I think it's probably none this season. Branthwaite has got... Has he got 1 Branthwaite? Yeah. Oh, Brian's got 2. Taki might have 1 or 2.
I don't think Taki's got 1.
Or has he got any? 1. And then you're looking at you scored against Liverpool the other week. There's 1. How can you forget that? You know. And then you're looking at, so when you go through the team, listen to those numbers.
I know, it's abysmal.
You know, when you're looking at other teams like Arsenal on Saturday. Them
Ashley
players,
Young's got 1.
You know, well, look at the players who you're up against the other day. All
the
of
lad
them
from West Ham's got, who's from Wolves has got 2.
Exactly. Yeah, Dawson. Craig Dawson's one of our top scorers.
Michalenko's got none.
So when you look at it, it's dead easy, innit? Yeah. You look at it and go, Everton don't score goals. Yeah. They can't score goals. So, you know, all you can really look for is look at the structure of the team, look at the way that they are playing better footy than they were, and they are creating a few more chances than they were. Well, all the stats tell you that. Chance creation there is, but it's only been the last couple of games that it hasn't been. But you could also factor some of that against the opposition you're playing against. But we are having chances in most games, which is good. We're scoring in most games, which is good. But we need goal. We need wingers who put the ball in the net. Midfield player who scores goals.
McNeil got 3, is he?
Calvert-Lewin's got 3, hasn't he, or something? Yeah. You know, so it's dead easy. It's that we can all be frustrated, and we are. We want to see our team win. We want to see loads of goals. But if you just go through the goal scoring this season, you look and go, there's just such a lack of goals.
It's abysmal.
So that's where it is. So all the other stuff's good. And you look at a team like Arsenal, as good as they are, and they do have goal scorers. And we're staying there falling short because they haven't got a centre forward where they really should have spent the money. They might have ended up winning a league title this season, and they haven't. And so when you distill that down to us at the weekend, we did quite well against them, really, to limit them to hardly anything. And we know that they're a good side. So
I mean, Spurs are a team above us, and they've got 58 goals.
And what have we got?
33.
Yeah. See? And how many have Tottenham lost?
Oh, they've lost 16 games.
And Everton have lost
10.
So if you look at that table, I think it's only Palace. I think Palace, then maybe above Palace is all right. But I think the bottom half, Everton have lost the least, have they?
Yeah, Brighton have lost more games than us. Bournemouth have lost the same amount as us.
Yeah. See, so we don't lose very often. So if we could get...
Just don't score.
No, that's what I mean. So if we can... If we can get goals into the team.
Bottom 3 are the bottom 3 are the only 3 teams in the Premier League who've scored less goals than us.
Yeah, so there you go. And what have Wolves got? They well above us, or
they've got 8 more goals than us.
See, so you know we know. Listen,
Man United are terrible as well.
United are terrible at scoring goals. So we know where it is, and but it is what it is. Let's have a look at the final stats from the game at the weekend. Everton won, Arsenal won. 5 shots to Everton, 14 for the Gunners, 2 on target for the Blues, 5 for Arsenal, XG of 1.09 for Everton and 1.79 for Arsenal, and 70% possession, which you'd expect from a Mikel Arteta side. But all in all, I think it's a good point considering all things considered. I want us to win games, of course, but if you can't win, don't lose, and that's what they did.
On the beach, mate.
But so that's in some respects, it's a better point than if you think
it's the greatest point that's ever lived.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Okay. Fair play. There you go. Let us know what you think.
They're coming up to Easter. That's like an Easter thing, isn't it? The greatest story that was ever told about the game on Saturday.
If this had been a couple of weeks, I'd have took it, but I'm not saying it this early.
Well, the Man City game will be the greatest win we've ever had against Man City.
On Easter
whilst
Saturday.
Pep was the manager.
On it.
Without Erling Haaland.
I like it.
Do you know what I mean? Unless Erling Haaland comes out of a cave on Good Friday or something.
No, he's not going to do that.
All right.
Don't be blasphemous.
But he might though. What how's that been blasphemous?
Well, he doesn't come out of the cave on Good Friday.
But I knew that. But he comes out early because he's better than Jesus for many people.
I don't think he is. Well, he's better than...
footy he was.
Better than Gabriel.
Yeah, footy was. No, listen. Haaland is a better footy player than Jesus.
You don't know that.
I know
you
that.
Don't know that.
I do know
you
that.
Don't know that.
I know that.
He's
for a
definitely
fact.
better than...
He didn't even have boots.
He's definitely better than Arsenal. Jesus,
boots.
Who did play for City.
Imagine how hard it would be kicking a ball.
Stop.
With no shoes
Have you got anything to say about the classy gesture that Arsenal did?
It was classy.
Before the game.
I put a tweet out about it. It went viral. I don't know why, because I didn't...
Why?
I don't know. That's classy. I just said no one else could be arsed, even but arsed Arsenal. And for some reason, some people have taken that as some kind of personal attack against them. I can't...
Who are those people?
I don't know.
They don't support Everton or Arsenal.
No, I don't support. The majority seem to be people who support a team that will probably be celebrating soon.
Oh.
Which is weird, because if I was celebrating soon, there's literally nothing on earth that could make me angry. Which is crazy.
There you go.
Maybe playing the last game on a Monday could make me angry. But apart from that, nothing could make me angry.
I don't think that's going on. No idea. Right, there you go. Let us know what you think in the comment section below about the game. Also, fantastic on the 9th minute, Kevin Campbell. Obviously the first meeting of the two teams at Goodison since Kevin's passing, and I thought observed fantastically by both sets of supporters, as you'd expect as well. So that was a lovely touching moment. And obviously a draw, you know, which Kev would have been all right with, I think. I'd be quite happy with. There you go. Let us know what you think in the comment section below about the game. It's had your own. What was your view of that? I know loads of Arsenal fans have been in the comments saying it was never a penalty. That's fine. I get it. Make sure you like, subscribe. Thank you to everyone who was subscribed already. We're close to getting to that 100,000, so thank you for that. If you want to become a Toffee TV Premium member, the link is in the description. We're carrying on over there now. The QR code will be on the screen now as well. Thanks for watching. See you later.